to the Drew Sutton Leadership Show, lighting the way with real leaders, real stories, and real impacts. Because when leaders stop growing, the darkness wins. Welcome to another amazing episode of the Drew Sutton Leadership Show. We're going to talk through the exact steps to automate your business today. I brought Matt Doud on the show because he's a master of automation for small businesses, a powerhouse CEO with deep roots in SaaS, coaching, and finance. He turns chaos into clarity, building systems that scale and teams that thrive so that founders, that means you, can stop doing what they hate and grow faster. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Matt.
That's quite the intro, Drew. Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. This is fun. I had you on the show a long time ago. Actually, I think about a year ago.
Yep.
Matt and I both love the Business Made Simple system, how to grow your small business. And that's how we met, is we were going through the initial training for that. So Matt's been a longtime friend. We've had lots of masterminds off the set of the show. And Matt has taken his coaching practice in a really cool direction. Whereas I focus on leadership work and dealing with you one-on-one for mindset, Matt focuses on how do you actually automate the stuff that's holding you back. He has a couple of different packages, which we'll get into in the show. But very good friend, super glad to have him on the show. He sent me an email telling me about one of his new products. And I said, you know what? This is exactly what my clients are asking for. How do we automate our small businesses so that we can reach that next level? So welcome to the show, Matt.
100%. Yeah. Thanks, Drew, man. It's good to be here. It's good to reconnect. It's been a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reading these days, what's getting you charged up and keeping you fresh on the coaching front?
Sorry, it cut out just for like right in the middle of that. What did you say? What am I reading?
Yeah. What are you reading today? What's got you excited?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm reading and rereading a book called 10X is Easier Than 2X by Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy, Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And it's actually become the foundation for the mastermind group that we've opened up and are trying to grow pretty aggressively. Because it, like, as I read through it, or I listen to books usually, I'll be mowing the lawn and listening, and I have to stop like every sentence and make a note. Because in some sections of that book, it's so dense. It's like there's something to unpack and really marinate on in literally every sentence. And so that's how we're doing the mastermind, is we're using that book as the core, and we're going slow. So that because we want to like actually affect transformation, and some of the ideas in there are pretty radical. Like you got to really work through it.
Yeah, I think that what holds a lot of people back is that they still think that they need to do everything, or that they're the smartest person in the room. I know that for myself, I used to do engineering, and my literal goal, and the thing that actually propelled my career forward the fastest, was when I said, I'm repenting of being smart. I no longer want to be the smart person. I want to be the dumbest person in the room. Right. I want to find the most amazing smart people I can and mentor them up so that they can lead the charge for me.
Yeah. Get them involved in what we're doing so that, because it's too much for one person. You're not that good at most stuff. I'm not, like most people are really good at one or two things and prefer to do those one or two things. So to me, it's like, rather than fight that sort of natural innate ability and tendency, it's like, why not just lean into it? Why not go with that and make it a strength?
Yeah. All right. Well, we made a promise to the folks that are watching the show here. We are talking about how to grow your small business, what to automate first, how to get out of your business so you can start working on your business, and what systems and processes. So here we are. We're going to start a $300,000 service business. If this is you and you're watching the show, 300K is a very respectable number. You're starting to take home some real cash as profit for your family. You're hiring your first 2 or 3 people at this point. You're really, in all honesty, you have achieved what most small businesses don't ever achieve, which is sustainable cash flow. But you're probably also working 60 hours a week. Probably haven't taken a vacation in 5 years. You're probably completely slammed and stressed. So here we are. We have ourselves a 300K service business. I have to check my spelling, Doug. I feel like
we need an I in there.
I think we need an I.
Somewhere.
There we go. Spelling was not my strong suit anymore. All right, sorry. 300,000 service business. What is the first thing that we need to do to start smoothing out operations? We could be hiring. We could be automating. What is the first thing we need to do?
Well, actually, so my process, I say we eliminate, automate, delegate. And so the first step, hey, there it is. The first step is actually to assess and figure out what are the most important things that need to happen that only I, the founder or CEO leader of this operation, can do. Really, truly only I can do. We've got to identify what those are. And then we got to look at everything else that I am doing or is on my list that feels like I need, that needs to get done. And we need to evaluate that for, well, does it truly need to get done, or can it actually just be straight up eliminated? That's always nice. Let's just like some stuff that we're doing, we don't know why. But then that's usually like a small percentage. Then you have that big glut of stuff that's like, well, yeah, it needs to get done. But do I actually have to do it? Does it have to be me? Am I the only one? Well, if the answer to that is no, then in your little flow chart, then it goes to next question. Can it be automated? Can AI play a part? Can technology come in and, make a tiresome, repeatable process just, done for you through automation? So we go through that process and we look at what fits there, what tools we have for that type of thing. And then finally, because people costs are the highest. So if it can't be eliminated and it can't be automated or not fully automated and it needs a human, then how do we delegate it?
I love that. So for me, it comes down to, do you have a CRM left? I can't tell you how many of my clients are working off of a version of Zoho, or they're working off of just Excel sheets or Google Docs, and they have canned email responses. One of the first things that you can do, and my advice is, take one Saturday a month, and write down the emails that you send all the time. When I meet somebody at a networking event, I want to send this email. When they receive that email, just a 2 email sequence. Hey, so great to see you. Maybe a week later, hey, let's catch up on a discovery call, whatever works for your business operations. But a CRM can do that automatically. You can tag them, and then all of a sudden, all of these things are starting to flow. So that would be, I guess, that's an automation item. And totally. I love what you talked about with eliminate. So much of what we do doesn't need to be done. If you're talking about actually making money in your business, don't automate something that doesn't need to be done.
Well, in that 10X versus 2X book, one of the first concepts that he brings up is the idea that to make a 2X jump, you can just work harder. You can double your efforts. You can go from, you can go to an 80-hour week and burn yourself out, that type of thing. And you can make more money, or at least drive more revenue and grow in that sense. But to go 10X, one of the cool things about it, it's not necessarily literally 10X, but like to make a shift to that much bigger than what you're currently doing, it eliminates most options, right? So most things you can't do to go 10X, like you can't work 10 times the hours that you're working. You can probably work 2 times,
right?
But you cannot work 10 times. They don't even exist, those hours. So like it causes you to reevaluate, like what are the 1 or 2 things that have to happen to make a 10X jump even possible? And it clarifies your roadmap right there. Huge step.
So this brings up, and this is one of the first activities that I advise everybody to get into. I know that you have just launched a new mastermind. I have a mastermind that kind of rotates through. We talk either leadership or we talk operations. But you have to get your mindset right. Now, I remember the first time I heard somebody say, "Oh, you need to get your mindset right." I was like, "Listen, that's nice. I understand the words. My mindset's fine.
Right.
I need to move forward." So when you say mindset, give me like 1 or 2 top things that are like big pivotal shifts that you have to do so that you can move from the 300K life to actually 300K in your pocket.
Sure. I mean, mindset would sound something like, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. I mean, that's a mindset, Now, to me, mindset is powered by your beliefs and your worldview. So not to get like too deep, but you have to dig in a little bit to like what is influencing me in the way I see the world and the way I see myself in the world. And you have to have a bit of an identity shift to like, what am I afraid of? What is my personal value and worth tied to that's making it hard for me to release things, like to delegate work, for example, right? There's some of these things that are pretty core to who we are that we don't spend a lot of time, like we don't really know how to get at it. This book, actually, it's kind of funny, like it does dig into that a little bit. And then we're going to be talking about it. We do talk about it in the mastermind. But it's like you have to understand what's going on inside, how that informs your mindset, practical things like, well, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. But a CEO mindset sounds more like this. I'm okay with 80%, like with something being done 80% as well from my perspective as I would have done it myself, because it frees me up to do 10 times more of the things that I am uniquely qualified to be doing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So it's a big shift, like it's a release and a shift of how you approach it.
I actually tell all of my clients, and this is even going back to when I was working in corporate America. I said, listen, if you don't feel worthless twice a day as a leader, you are doing too much. And that doesn't mean that you're not working hard. Like as a leader, you're obviously working hard. But what we feel like is doing real work, because we've all been the individual doer, and we've all complained about the boss who doesn't do real work, because we are too busy putting in the rivets on the airplane, screwing in the screws on the whatever your assembly line is. When we move to that level of leadership, it's our job to resource the people that are doing the work. So what we should be doing all day doesn't really feel like real work because we haven't built a car in 7 years. Well, you're not supposed to build a car. You're the boss. So if you don't feel worthless twice a day, you're probably not doing your job. You're probably just a really overpaid mechanic.
Yeah, exactly. When you do, I've got, my tool that we may talk about, the not to do list, and it actually is monetary. It's like it shows the value of your time, and then it shows how much you're spending on a task when you're doing it yourself, how much you're overspending typically to retain lower level tasks that could be handed off or automated. It's very expensive. Actually, it's a huge opportunity cost. And so it's almost like people think another mindset thing is, well, I can't afford to do it. And the mindset shift is, I can't afford not to do this, or I can't afford to keep doing these things. It's killing me. It doesn't feel like you're not writing a check for it, but you're feeling it in the lack of growth, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And a lot of times I think that we look at that lack of growth and we point to the work that we're doing. Like, this is how hard I'm working. And then we say, see how hard I'm working. I'm a good person. And that's a major mindset shift. I actually call it kings and pawns, which is pawns tell you how valuable they are by how much pain they've gone through. But kings tell you how valuable they are by how much stuff they got done. So if I can do it for free, or if I can do 80% of it for absolutely free, that's a much higher level of success. So as you get into those higher and higher rooms, whether that's, you've joined a networking circle and somebody's invited you to private coffee with, some of your more high-end clients, those people don't really want to know how hard the work is. They want to know how reliable you are executing it.
Yeah. And how much value do you create? Doesn't, like, not necessarily through your own physical efforts, right? Like, not how many widgets you produced, but like, how well did you orchestrate it, the whole team to produce? So like you said, how valuable it makes you feel. That's when I'm talking about identity and like those core beliefs. It's like, we can use busyness and like kind of that front facing productivity as a shell, like actually a procrastination of sorts, like a front for see how valuable I am, versus like doing work that doesn't look like, the boss is just in his office just thinking all day, like what, he's not doing anything. And in reality, that's producing the most valuable outcome, but it doesn't look like work in the conventional sense, right? So am I okay not looking like I'm being super productive in order to be infinitely more productive in the long term?
And then the flip side of that is, are you taking that little bit of breathing room that you've finally worked up to, and are you actually applying it to strategic work, which is another big thing. I think we get a little bit of space and then we want to sit with a cigar on the mezzanine and overlook at the workers. Instead of doing the real job, which is building partners, finding that higher level client, setting us up for the next automation. All right. So let's.
Oh, can I say one more thing about that real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned, you mentioned something that made me think of this, and I can't remember what it was exactly, but it's like the job of the executive or the CEO is to empower the team. So another good mindset filtering question is, if there's something I have to get done, what would this, but I wasn't allowed to do it myself, how would I get it done if I could not do it myself? Right. And it forces you to think about, does that make sense? It's like, okay, X task needs to be accomplished. Now, my parameters are, I can't do it. Like, I'm not allowed to touch it. How would I get it done if that were the case? And it opens up that creative mind, right, to think of a different way.
I love that. Actually, when I was at Lockheed, I had a pretty big team, and I discovered, because I'm a fast talker, we all have like this moment when somebody asks a question, how fast do you answer? I'm like less than 1 second. Like, I'm jumping in, answering the question. And so I was stifling my entire team, because somebody would bring up a problem. I'd say, this is how you solve that. And my team was like completely emotionally unengaged in the conversation. It's like, oh, he's just going to tell us what to do. What I started doing, I literally bought myself a $25 watch. I put a 5-minute timer on it, and I would ask a question to the group, click, 5 minutes, not allowed to talk. And it unlocked my team in a way that I cannot express. They took ownership of the ideas. They had far better ideas than I do. That's a tough one. Yeah, I love it. How would you do work differently if you weren't allowed to touch it? It's brilliant.
Yeah.
All right. Here we are. We've started changing our mindset. We've started to eliminate some unnecessary tasks. We've done a little bit of automation. We've reached 1 million, 1.5 million in revenue, which means we probably have 5 to 10 employees. Probably a couple of them are our best friend, or this person that we met that we like a lot. But now we've hit another plateau, and we're spending all of our time fighting fires. There's little skeletons that are starting to crop up in the closet, things that we're kind of ignoring because we can't get to it. We're starting to lose more customers because of little drops in the system. What do we need to start automating now when we hit about the million? You can go down to 750, about the $1 million mark.
That's a good question, because I don't like to. I mean, I tend to avoid blanket answers, right? Because it's sort of like every organization is different, every business is different. It could be an automation solution. It could very well be a delegation solution, because even when you automate, you still need someone who owns that area of operation in your business, especially when you're at that level. So I would reference another Dan Sullivan book, actually. I think it's the same two guys, Who Not How. And the basic premise is that your problem isn't solved. The reason your problem isn't solved is not because you haven't learned how to do it. It's because you don't have the right person being applied to that problem. And so to me, at that level, it's again looking at my own strengths and weaknesses, and then my small team's strengths and weaknesses, and looking for the gap. Like, where are we deficient as a team? And it's probably like moving one person, like shifting their role, or potentially going and finding the right help at a fractional level. It might be a fractional CFO to get the numbers in order. It might be a fractional COO to bring in some strategic operations. It might be a CMO who's just like really good at, knocking out lead gen campaigns that crush, or a CRO who's good at systematizing your revenue ops for converting the leads that are coming in and really capitalizing on the business that you already have, right? There's lots of different types of roles that it could be, but I would say it's more than likely one of those. And then what they're going to do is they're going to automate the right things within their area, if that makes sense.
I love this. One of my favorite tools for this region, because you're talking about roles and responsibilities and standard operating procedures. Up to about 10 employees, you just out of sheer force of working too hard, you can probably coach the people individually. You can check all of the work that they're doing. At one point, I had 42 individual people delivering substantial amounts of work to me every week. There's literally not enough hours in the week to read that level of content and approve that level of content and be 100% correct. That was an engineering role. As the boss of a small company, it's probably your quotes. So you probably have customer complaints coming in, customer changes coming in, your quarterly review, whatever your cycle is to keep that customer relationship together. And then you have new customers that are asking you to do work for them. Bob said that you were great. Sally said that I should call you. I have this new floor plan I need to work on. Can you give me a quote? So now you're doing custom quotes, and then you are doing custom touches with each of the customers. And you've probably said to yourself, we have amazing customer service and our customers come to us because we take care of them individually. But you hit about 30, 50 customers, and that starts to get really hard really quickly, because not everybody on your team can provide that concierge level of touch. So what you said, roles and responsibilities, who's doing what? Let's really clarify that. Let's get some hard metrics on that. This is what success means for your role. When you're successful, this is your incentives that you can have.
Yep.
And then, but I like Scribe. I think it's scribe.how, maybe scribe.com.
Yeah.
Scribe is fantastic because it is exhausting to make SOP. But you can just run with Scribe and click.
Yeah. It captures all your clicks and stuff. That's very cool.
Yeah. It's like remarkably intuitive. It's totally worth the effort.
There's one other aspect at this level, I would say, that comes into play typically, which is I talk about Founder's Dilemma 1 and Founder's Dilemma 2. Founder's Dilemma 1 is very early stage in its scarcity of all resources, right? I just don't have enough time and I don't have enough money to hire somebody. And it's like just scramble mode to do everything to, to get it going to the point where we're at this stage now, right? Build the team, build the product, build the market, everything. Right. At this point, and what the founder is needing to do then is offload the things that they're especially not good at, right? Like get a bookkeeper in there to just handle the books, to get a customer service rep in there to like take care of people, whatever, right? Those type of things. At this level we're talking about now, another big challenge, Founder's Dilemma 2, is now being willing to hand off the thing that I actually am the best at. The thing that got us here, that it's like ripping off my arm to do it because it's my baby. It's my identity. It's my identity that I've poured into this business that's manifested into the world. And it's like very tied to who I am. So to put somebody else in charge of strategic partnerships or like product development or something like that can be extremely difficult, but it can be an extreme ceiling to keep a company stuck at a certain level.
I love that, man. I call this the Roman problem. So we live in a world, we live in a flat earth world, not like a flat earth firmament sense, but like in a, we can call anybody from any side of the globe whenever we want. And so we have this amazing flow of information, which allows us to dashboard and metricize all sorts of things. But the Romans didn't have that luxury. If they sent you to be a governor of Turkey from Italy, that was a 3-month journey. So creating the people that you're comfortable handing off, not just the tasks, but the core culture and the value structure to. And so I work with leaders in this stage to really define to themselves, this is what's most important to me. This is what the culture needs to look like. And when they can properly articulate that and transfer that to their key workforce members, I find that helps them with that transition.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. The coaching, right? It's coaching your team. You become much more of a coach to other people to empower them to do. You have that book, Buy Back Your Time, on your shelf back there. Dan Martell.
There's a couple people in life that I'm a fanboy for, and Dan
he's
Martell.
One of them. He's the absolute stud. Yeah. I mean, everything he says is gold, I think. So yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. I'm probably ripping off a lot of what he's taught in what I'm saying here.
So, yeah. I mean, and he's done it at such a high level. Okay. Yeah. So you've managed to grow a leadership team. You have outsourced the right functions. You've internally developed the right functions inside. You have systems and processes. You have roles and responsibilities in your business. You're really starting to get some traction, $3 to $10 million in revenue. You're probably scratching on the 20 employee stage, maybe 30 employee stage. You're starting to take big trips. Like you can actually reward the team. There's been big milestones. You may have a nice facility that you've now built. Something you're a pillar of the community. What are the things that you need to be eliminating, automating, and delegating at this stage?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is toxic culture. Anything that's going to infiltrate and, like the one bad apple ruins the whole bunch, right? So even it could be I don't know why it seems like this is always the example, but like your top sales rep who just brings in tons of revenue, but is a total a-hole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're like, what is more important than this guy who does generate money is that he's pissing everybody else off, and people like, I'm going to lose other good people because of it. Like, come in, fire that guy, show everybody else that you care more about the health of the business and about their well-being than you do about, the bottom line that he creates or whatever. And like, that'll go a really long ways, because you can't control culture at when you get 20, 30, 50 people, you can't control it the same way you did when you were 5 or 10 people. Like you're not seeing everybody all the time. So now it has to be embedded. It has to be intrinsic to the operation.
This is 100% why we're friends. You have to, so it starts, at the $1 to $2 million range, it starts to be, these are the standard operating procedures. This is how I want you to do the work. And then that stuff starts to filter into the soul of the organizations. And it says, this is why we do the work. This is why I started the company. This is our role in society. At the $3 to $10 million mark, you're starting to be the people that other people want to be. You're probably mentoring folks at the local Rotary or at the Chamber of Commerce. And so being really clear on, this is my value structure, and this is how I routinely implement the value structure to my organization. Because you probably have a decent amount of turnover. I mean, if you have 30 people, you're probably hiring 3 to 10 people every year, and 3 to 10 people are leaving. And so how do you culturally onboard people? That's a system. How do you maintain the culture and maintain the excitement? How do you set goals that are aspirational enough, not just for you to go on a cruise, but for your whole team to go on a cruise?
Yeah.
These questions they're really fun questions to ask.
Yeah.
We are kind of running out of time here, so I'm going to have to tailor this up. Matt, tell us what you're up to these days. Again, you have this really cool checklist for us, but you also have this mindset, strategy, execution, mastermind. And then of course, and this is what I think is so cool, you have a super affordable automation suite. I think right now it's starting at $250. Obviously there's some other features, but starting at $250. How do people find you, and how can they get connected to you?
Yeah, for sure. Well, we have a free Facebook group, which is just because that's the easiest place still to find people, right? So it's Free Flow Nation. And we have a private group as well that, we're moving people into, but as far as finding us publicly, Free Flow Nation on Facebook. And we have these the two groups, the two offers. One is the free mastermind, where we're talking about all these things that we've been talking about today to get set up, like to know what's going on, internally, emotionally, mentally, and then moving that from inside to out. Like, how do we execute? Like, how does this inform our decision making and strategy, what we're actually doing? So we're meeting weekly to dive into that stuff, to help people make the transformation, right? A mindset transformation and then an action transformation. The accelerator is then the next step. That's the one that starts at $250 a month, because what we're trying to do is solve the problem of scarcity of time, energy, and expertise that all founders experience. While also addressing the scarcity of resources of money. Right. So we've made it very affordable for someone to join and actually have an instant team who understands business strategy and can help them execute. So in the accelerator, everybody gets you're talking about a CRM. They get our customized CRM that's built off of Go High Level. We've customized it for entrepreneurs. We help them install it and begin using automations within the CRM. So we have that technology automation piece. We have weekly office hours where people can come and just get help in real time. So I'm stuck with this. I show up to office hours, and Matt and my team, we help work through it right now, create a solution. And then you also get one project or task per month that we do for you. So for example, like I need a little email campaign to nurture my new leads, or I need a content calendar so I can post social media consistently. That type of stuff. So we'll do one, small task that you can just hand off and have done for you. And it can be on the tracks of lead generation, lead conversion, optimization of some operational things, that type of thing. So we're really in it to help affordably allow founders and CEOs to hand off some of the work that's bogging them down.
I love it. Like I said, we are running out of time, but I just want to, if you're listening to the show and you made it this far, and you're saying to yourself, I'm in one of these stages. I'm at the very beginning. I'm at 300K in revenue. Maybe I want to get there, or, I'm already at the 10 million in revenue, but I know that the business, I know that it needs to go to the next level. I don't know how to 10X that. Reach out to Matt. Tell him you saw him on the Drew Sutton Leadership Show. He's got a special deal for you. Ask him how to get involved in his mastermind group. Ask him how to get involved with the thing. $250 a month. I cannot express what a deal that is. Let me just kind of maybe put this into a different context for you. How much are you currently paying your admin? If you don't even have an admin, you just have a VA, how much are you currently paying your VA per month? This is $250 a month. You're going to get things done for you. You're going to have access to amazing things curated for your stage of business. And you have access to amazing, well-versed COOs, CFOs, CMOs, folks that can tell you, hey, this is the game plan. This is how you knock this out. We've done it for other people. It's easy to do it for you. $250 a month is an extremely reasonable price for the value you're getting there. So find Matt. You can find him on LinkedIn. You can find him on Facebook. What was the name of your Facebook group again?
Free Flow Nation.
Free Flow Nation. And it's freeflowceo.ai is the website as well. Tell him you saw him on the Drew Sutton Leadership Show. With that, we are out.